Hey people,
Well, hello there.
how y'all doing? What's
Woo.
going on?
Honey,
How
I'm
your
just
mama
gonna tell
doing?
y'all right now. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all up front. I am at a low energy moment because I had to get up at I did it to myself, right? So I tried to go to bed at
Keep talking. I'm listening. I'm gonna tend to something with my child. I'll be right back. Keep on. I'm here. I'm listening.
I had to be up at 5 o'clock this morning in order to get on the train to go to New York this morning. So I caught myself going to bed at midnight. And
Midnight.
yes,
Midnight.
because
That was
I knew I
before
was
you
going to
rest.
sleep on. I knew I was going to sleep on the train.
Okay. All right. I
But
got you.
uh, so 12, 15. It usually takes me 10 or 15 minutes to fall asleep. Sometimes faster. But of course, I could not go to sleep. And then just as I try to fall asleep around 12:30, the fucking fire alarm starts beeping.
The fuck?
No, like the battery needs to be changed.
Oh, I was like, the
So I
fuck?
was like, motherfucker. So now I have to get all the way up out of the bed and go change and go get the bed. Luckily, I had the
Well,
bed.
wait a minute. You know you don't have to do all that because you know most black people got a fire alarm in their house that's still beeping. It's been beeping. It's 2 months ago.
I'm not that black. As soon as that girl starts beeping, because I can't, because let me tell you,
But
I
listen,
can't,
you
I
know.
can, I can't fall asleep with that noise. And that's exactly what happened because I was like, it beat once. And I was like, girl, I'll deal with it tomorrow.
Baby,
And
you
then the
I
next
got
time it
you.
beat, you know how you just about to fall asleep and something wakes you up? So I had to get up, go find the fucking batteries, put the bitch in, and then I get back in the bed. I did close the little door all the way. So that was that. So now here we are at 1:45. I was like, bitch, I gotta fall asleep. Still couldn't fall asleep. So I went my old trusty bottle of Stoli that I keep by the bed. And listen, I am not an alcoholic. I do not drink. 95% of the time, I do not take a swig out of that bottle. But if I really can't fall asleep, and it's usually because my mind is racing because something the next day is happening, like I got a flight to catch or something to do, or just for whatever reason, I will take I have a little plastic solo cup shot glass,
Mm-hmm.
fill that up, glug, glug, glug. And then to top it off, I watched Twitter porn for like 10 minutes.
Ah, yeah, that'll do
So
it.
combination put me right to sleep. But anyway, so
That'll
I
do it.
get up and I get on the train, get to New York. I do what I got to do, but I didn't have my neck pillow. So trying to sleep on the train was not super comfortable. I tried to ball up my jacket and put it behind my head and sort of relax that way, but that didn't work because then I was cold. So it was always something. So all that is to say, after a breakneck trip all the way up to New York City and back, I is tired. And this is nothing compared to Friday, because Friday, I don't just get the pleasure of going to New York City. I get the pleasure of going all the way to Boston for a trip. So that day, so Friday, as in day after tomorrow, the train leaves at 4:54 a.m. And so by the time I get back after the meeting and everything, it's going to be 9:30 p.m. on Friday night. So It's going to be a very quiet evening for me on Friday.
Listen, we just going. We just going to make it work. Like it's just got to be.
And yes, Tyra, I am very much ready to sit out on the lanai. Oh, so I guess you must be the one dressed like Colonel Abrams.
You know what? I cannot with her. I cannot. Like, or she's saying I'm dressed like Colonel Abrams. Is that what she's saying? Is that what I'm gathering?
She's saying that you are dressed like Colonel Abrams and I'm dressed like I'm sitting on the lanai.
Don't want to forget you and
you know what? And you know what this job has me feeling? Trapped. I'm trapped.
You know I'm trapped. Can't get enough.
Right. But not really.
Words.
It's a lot. So how was your day? Because we both, without coordinating with one another, both went to see Sinners. And so
we did.
Just like with Wicked, we are going to do a what? Deep dive. So how was your week?
So my week was actually pretty good. I don't really have too many complaints about that. Today is my Onyx anniversary. I'm excited about that. And it's sad because all of us are not here. And I remember making a statement after our first MAL that we need to really make sure we make this happen every single year, because every single year as time goes on, I feel like we're going to be harder and harder to get together. So what happens that last MAL that we're all together, Phil, what the hell is Phil's anyway, one's gone to the East Coast. One's no longer here on,
It's going to the West Coast.
I'm sorry. Thank you. To the West Coast. One's not on this coast at all, on this celestial plane. And then it just leaves the five of us, but which is cool. But it's amazing that it's been, God, eight years now, something like that. It's kind of happy and amazing. So, or is it 9? I can't remember. Anyway, but so that was a good thing. Today has been, and the week has been interesting because I was supposed to be working from home, but you know, the good old Black Degree Factory has its stuff that's going on, and
what happened?
So I wound up having to go in yesterday, and I wound up having to go in today. And I've just shared with our good girlfriend, with our good girlfriend of the show, our good friend of the show, Grace, that I'm just not doing it tomorrow. I'm not coming in. I'm not even calling in. Don't even expect me to come in. I'm not. Listen. Don't worry about giving me my time back. I need my time now because I'm going to be you've pushed back things in the office that have affected us. And now we're feeling the brunt of it because we're coming to the end of the semester. And I told you that we get to the end of the semester, everybody and their grandma are going to be trying to take care of their bill, and everybody reaching in their pockets and their titties trying to find $25 to pay, go towards this bill. That's thousands of dollars that they ain't gonna be able to pay, but they want their baby to graduate though. And they decide now in April that they got time before May to make it happen. Well, some people do if you have that type of money.
I don't understand how people keep thinking that's gonna happen, but sure.
So in any event, that has been the source of bone of contention for me at this present time, because the work is coming and you're gonna have to do a whole bunch of stuff, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, it's just a lot. But besides that, it has been a decent day. I almost had to have a little moment with one of my staff members, and I started to go down that road, but I had to catch myself but I didn't want to catch myself. But I really did go down that road. But I ended it on a good note. And had she taken the cues that I was trying to give to her, I probably, I'm sorry. I stopped myself a little bit before I went as far as I wanted to go. She didn't take any cues, but she's not understanding that these cues are going to save her life, because when I know what's going to wind up happening. I'm going to kirk out. I just see it. So I'm letting all y'all know right now. Everybody get together $50 because I'm gonna have to. Grace will probably be administering the fund because she will be the closest, because I might not make it off the Black Degree Factory's premises, and she might have to, So, but yeah, other than that, it's been good. I really don't have too many complaints. Every day above ground is a good day. Like I just don't have too many complaints at this particular point. Like I'm good. I'm trying to stay in the here and now and not get all jacked up about stuff. So but it's all good. It's all good. I don't have too much of an issue.
All right, now you ain't got to kirk out. You could just not say anything to her. You got. No.
I need to say something. I do.
No, you don't. What you need to do is keep your job, because we got trips and plans and ideas and all kinds of shit that we need to do and want to do with our life. And you got to keep that cat in fucking real food and not shit that you buy at the dollar store.
Wait a minute now. Hold up.
Don't be buying that baby. Don't be buying that baby's food from the fucking dollar store.
Puss in Boots was a legitimate cat food.
It is not good cat food.
It is a legitimate cat food. Should I need to purchase it? I know where I can get it because it's cheap. But I try not to. I try to at least get it.
You can buy a whole meal from the dollar store, but should you?
I mean,
So my point is, don't be cussing nobody out. You manage by exception. So you set up rules that people have to follow. You give them deliverables and firm deadlines and guidance, and let them know what the consequences are if they don't follow those instructions. And so then
it's not that
they find themselves in HR.
It's not that. It's the communication every day where you want to, because we work together, you want to be communal and you want it to be fun. That's the problem. They don't know how to cut that off. And so I figured it's either going to be, I'm going to go too far and say something I shouldn't, or they're going to go too far and say something that's going to get them cussed.
You establish, listen, because me and best friend were say honestly, actually, quiet as kept, best friend was in the military for many years. So, he already knew. And he and I had a conversation before, because we worked together.
Mm-hmm.
So I got him the job. And, I was just like, listen, I know you're going to be cool, but I just want to be clear. When we at work, we not best friends. It's boss. I mean, we still cool, but, it ain't, don't be acting crazy. So I feel like that's a conversation that needs to be had. Like, listen, this is how we're going to carry when we are at the office.
I realized that.
And sometimes you got to write that shit down.
But I realized that I think it might actually hurt them more if I just ignore them all the way around.
Yeah, but you don't want to do that. I mean, you need to explain to them.
I do.
You need to explain to them, no, ignoring them is not the good way to manage, because then they have no idea what the issue is. You need to use your words. Use your words. I'm telling you this after as part of a 25-year history as a management consultant. Use your words. Yes, it is easy to ignore people, but use your words and tell them what the problem is and how it's going to be solved, because then they can decide if they want to go in that direction or not. And then if they don't go in the direction, you have established firm deadlines upon which you can now judge them and potentially discipline them or fire them. But just ignoring them allows them to say, when, push comes to shove, oh, Mr. Epic never provided me guidance or whatever. That's just my opinion. Now, as you have said many a time, I got that last $50 on your bail.
That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is, because see, here's the thing. So here's the thing, and I think you know this, because I know you feel it on a molecular level. I'm pretty good with restraining myself when it comes to a lot of things. I know my mouth can, if I don't work on it all the time, some of the things that come out of my mouth is a struggle to be nice. I have to constantly think about that. But here's the thing that I do know, and I want y'all to mark my words on this. If I decide that I'm going after someone, there is not near person that can stop me from getting to that person. And I sincerely mean that. Listen, if I decide I'm coming after you, I'm going to get close enough to you and I'm going to put my hands on you. I just want to be clear about that. And that same mentality goes to in a professional setting. If I have to get to you, I'm going to get to you with these words. Like I'm going to get to you. But I feel like she's taking the professional side out. It's just I just want to get to you type of thing. Like I really do. And if I can't really get to her, then I'm trying to figure out who I can get to her, that I can feel good about them getting to her. But
don't do it, Miss Sealy.
I am trying.
Go through what I've been through.
It is a recalibration every day, because today was the most recent recalibration. But besides that, they're all good. It's cool. No one lost a finger or a head or an arm today. Everyone was good. Everyone left out. And everybody was good. So but I do want to give a shout out to Grace who watched everything happen today.
Mm-hmm.
And Grace had a moment with someone as well. And I don't know if this is an age bracket thing. I'm not quite sure. I don't know what that is. But we had to have a conversation about that. And we talked about that. We kind of eased ourselves. We kind of soothed each other back down.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. Like I said, it's a good day. So I'm good. I'm trying to keep it positive. Yes.
Girl, just don't do nothing that's going to make you subject of a discrimination filing for any reason. Because the girls keep it cute until they're cornered. And then they're going to be like, Mr. Epic, he's a homosexual. He doesn't like women. Or he doesn't like young people or whatever. So I'm trying to keep you out of jail and out of trouble in that way. Because when cornered, the girls will, you are a homosexual.
Absolutely, a big one.
And I don't think it's a secret at the office. I mean, just look at you.
This is what she does. This is what she says. She's wearing the Mrs. Roper special on camera. Come on, Mrs. Roper.
But the thing is that, and this is where I'm being serious, right? Is I know it will feel good to do this, but first of all, you're in leadership here. So you're not just some dude in the thing. You have responsibilities and obligations, and you can enforce those because you are in leadership. So you can tell people how they're supposed to act in the office. And then when they don't act in that way, then you can enforce that either by writing them up, leading to fire them. But if you don't put it in writing and you just ignore them or make it seem like you're out to get them, even if they deserve 100% to get got. If you don't follow the right path, they're going to file an action, and then what turned into you having a legitimate gripe and concern is going to turn into Mr. Epic is anti-woman. Mr. Epic only likes other gay men. Mr. Epic is, he's old and got that gray hair. He don't like young people or whatever. So I'm just letting you know. And I'm gonna sit right there in the court. I'm gonna be looking like the Lady Chablis sitting there in the court, on your side. But girl, I'm just trying to keep you out of trouble.
All I'm telling you is, it's every day. It's a thing where there's something new, and I have to catch myself, and I always sit back and say to myself, like, you too old for this.
Yeah,
like, you are too old for this, and it usually is me, because I'm always like, I'm not gonna do it.
Listen, and I totally understand, because baby, there are some people in my job I was like, you're doing this on purpose.
That's kind of how I feel for some people.
This, like, if you just did your job, like, if I ask you, like, hey, where do we stand with this deliverable? And you're like, we're good. No, bitch, that's not what the fuck.
That's not what I
need. I need to know what the number is, where it is in the system, when it's going to be delivered. We are working on a construction project. Therefore, there's a deliverable. There's always a deadline. So you always need to be working towards that. And when you report towards that deadline. It was like, yeah, things are a little bit behind. It's going to take us another week, and this is how we're going to do it. Well, anyway, so all I'm saying is that I'm giving you all this advice, but when you point, you see those fingers pointing back at me. I'm saying I have sinned and fallen short of the glory myself.
All I'm saying is I just remembered that bougie girl is HR, so we might be having some more conversations.
Please, I need you to do that,
because I need to figure, because like I do want to get them, but
there's
I have bigger fish to fry.
I'm giving you the initial thing, and Bougie Girl's going to give you the more detailed thing. There's a way to get them that protects you.
Absolutely.
And all of it is through documentation. First, you establish the performance requirements. Then you hold them to the requirements. And when they fall short of the glory, then you can write that ass up.
So I am going to continue to do what I've been doing, which is holding my mule for right now.
All right.
But I'm just telling you, I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that I'm employed. That's what I'm going to do.
At least until we go on this cruise at the end of the year. I mean, Jesus.
That's all I can do. But, that's all I got for right now.
All right. So we'll start with a few tickety talks.
Come on, tickety, 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 tickety talk. Tickety, 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 tickety talk. Tick, 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 tickety, talk, talk, to talk, to talk, talk, to talk. Tickety, 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 talk.
Okay.
I mean, that was my introductory song, just for the tickety talks and stuff. But hold on, before we do all that, we didn't say hello to the peoples. Hey, Grace.
Oh, that's right. We gotta hold on. Let me get at least share up.
Hey, David.
Yeah. So Grace was the first person in, and then Eccentric and Dylan
and Josh. Listen, your father-in-law,
David, Lola, and Josh.
Where you been, Josh? You ain't been in it. What's going on? Lola was here last week, but Josh, you ain't been here. I mean, what's going on? Like, what is the problem?
Josh is, a career woman.
I mean,
Josh, and listen, what what those career women want.
Careers?
I know what all you career girls want the same thing.
Careers?
Careers? It's okay, David. I mean, listen, we literally, well, I know when I say we all have lives to live, apparently we don't because we're here every Wednesday, but we're here for you.
Wait, no, I got one better. We was having this conversation and Grace said to me, she said, wait a minute. Oh, she said, wait a minute. She said, I need a man. I said, what are you talking about? She said, why am I looking forward to Wednesday night? That's all I got going on Wednesday night is tuning into the show. I said, that's because we give you what you need. We're food for the soul.
Exactly.
The fuck? What are you talking about?
We fill that hole mentally. Mentally. But yeah, David, no worries. And you know what? In some cases, it's actually even better if you watch it afterwards, like, share, and subscribe. So watching us live is cool, but it's even better if you watch offline and then share it with your friends.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll get started.
No sound and
up the volume.
You must really like them.
Hold on.
Is it? You must really like them.
Can you see the picture?
Yeah, I can see the
picture.
Can you
see the picture?
Yeah, I can see the picture. Wait a minute.
Why is my camera now let's try it.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the picture.
All right, let's try it. This video might be too high def.
Oh, okay.
Chicken sandwiches. You like them a great deal. I see you like that fast food. I brought me roast potatoes and carrots today because have you ever considered, like putting food on the stove at your house?
There's something wrong with this video.
The video of this feed is even slow as well. I'm not sure if it's my side, your side, or just in general.
Sometimes these videos are like very high quality and whatever. So, we're going to leave that one alone.
Okay.
But we'll try this one. All right.
We're going to fill in because I didn't even realize that my speaker wasn't even, not my speaker, my microphone wasn't even plugged in. And then I didn't realize that my speakers wasn't even up as much.
So here
we're there now. Okay, we're there now.
All right, can you see the picture?
We can.
Oh, what? I'm gonna puke! Quick, puke here!
How did I get? Why did I stay?
Oh no! What? I'm gonna puke! Quick, puke here!
How did I get here and why did I stay?
Oh no! What? I'm gonna puke! Quick, puke here!
How did I get here and why did I stay?
All I'm saying is that who among us has not gone to a corner of the internet and been like, bitch, this is disgusting. But I can't
my
look
first
away.
one. My first one was like Josh mentioned, 2 girls in 1 cup. Baby, when I tell you I searched high and low for that. And when I found it, when I tell you I said, what? But wait, the thing is, that didn't really gross me or like kirk me out or anything. What really made me quiver and shiver and just be like, I'm never going on the internet hole ever again was when I saw, I don't even know what the name of the video is, but it's with the man that decided to sit on the glass and it broke.
Yes, and the glass broke inside of him. Yeah. That freaked me out.
Oh! I was not.
Yeah, definitely.
Ugh.
All right, I'm waiting for the next one to load.
Or light bulb butt plug that broke. Josh, no, I didn't see that one, but baby, that's gonna make me shiver just as much and shudder just as much as the other one. Oh no!
Yeah, it was disgusting. Grace said, "Google's 2 girls, 1 cup. Don't judge."
Oh, great! Listen, Grace, when you go down that rabbit hole, you're gonna have to go way down that rabbit hole because you're gonna probably see a lot of people doing reviews of it, but you're gonna actually have to find the actual link. That's what's gonna be a problem for you.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can still find that anymore.
It's out there. But you just have to keep going all the way down the hole to find it.
Yeah, I'm usually just not that pressed to find it.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
All right, we're gonna try this again with the Instagrams, and then if not, we will go because we got plenty to talk about with sinners. All right, so invite, or I'm sharing the screen.
David, I'm right there. I'm right there with you, baby, because I swear I was like, okay, but like I said, that wasn't as bad to me as the cup, and oh God, or the glass, rather, I should say.
Do you support little ghetto bitches that quit? Come on now.
I mean, I support little ghetto bitches that queef.
I didn't even hear the last part. Oh, that queef. That's cute. Little ghetto bitches that queef. Okay. All right. Okay.
Men don't cheat. Why do you sound like that? Am I lying? Come on, Baron. We have never cheated.
With your chest. In fact, look straight into the eyeball of this camera with your chest and say men don't cheat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to bring a special news onto you that men don't cheat. I said it with my full chest.
Kind of stupidity. I know since I'm rubbish. It's just rubbish.
I said it with my full chest.
You're so dumb, man.
Men don't cheat.
That was just funny to me. Their interaction was just hilarious to me.
Their interaction is, but you know what? What's happening on this screen is what seems like it happened before. You had like a lot of stuff open on your laptop. That's what it seems like to me. I could be wrong.
Bitch, I have nothing open on this laptop except these.
I'm just saying I could be wrong, but I remember like that happened before where you were like, oh, let me close all this stuff down. You had a couple screens open, but that's okay. And it could
we're
just
gonna try one or two more times, and if not, we will just stop. It's all good. I mean, I don't get into grown folks' business.
I mean, either way, that's what y'all gonna do. I mean, okay,
right.
Wait a minute, not with the way men. Great, that's what we doing. Way men, that's what we doing. Okay.
I was thinking, wait a minute, $1.1 million or best offer, strip club for sale in Detroit, liquor license and parking lot included. Baby, we can open up the bank.
Baby, do you know? Listen. Like I got an extra $1 million just laying around somewhere. I don't have
right.
No
I mean, you know, I got $250,000.
Baby, I got $25. That's all I got.
All right, you can be a silent partner.
Bitch, I'm so silent. I'm deaf and mute in the corner.
Elon Musk is going to burn America to the ground because nobody thought he was funny.
Yeah.
Because nobody laughed.
And because he needed surgeries to look handsome adjacent if you're not wearing your glasses and it's foggy. You know how many surgeries he's had to look like a 5? This guy, he's going to ruin democracy because he was born a 3, and then he put millions of dollars into becoming a 5.
3.
He's a born 3 with dreams and delusions of being an 8. He doesn't. He knows deep down. He knows deep down he's not getting to 10. So we've got a born 3 dreaming of 8, landing at 5. And he's got an army of 2s that we're calling Doge, and now we don't get to have democracy anymore because the right girls didn't want to sleep with him.
Right. Elon Musk is going.
That was the most epic read,
baby, and it was the most accurate read I have ever heard about that man.
Aimed for 8, landed at 5,
baby.
And I feel like 5 is generous.
Well, you know, because we
baby. Let's be clear. At least 1 point of that 5 is because he's a billionaire.
That part.
Because if he was just a regular dude or only had like, you know, maybe $5 or $10 million, people would be like, nah.
Can we also talk about the fact that he is a baby daddy of what? He has what? 6 different women? 7 different women?
Well, that's because he's trying to raise his own white army. That's why he don't fuck with his trans child, because you know now I think she transitioned to become a woman, so I think those are her pronouns now. So he don't fuck with her no more because that's out of, you know, no longer in. She can't use her to build a child army.
Well, no, not the kids. I was talking about the baby mamas. Like we know we know
that's what I'm saying, kids. But I'm saying he's doing that for a reason.
Right. No. I got that. I'm sorry. I was addressing both Dylan as well as Grace about the kid. It wasn't the kids. I'm talking about the baby mamas. Because I think I think at one point, I think a lot of them he has won by, so it might be a couple different women, but I thought it was like 6 or 7 baby mamas. I thought
something like that,
but I could be wrong. But yeah.
I had a radical heart shift from that moment. I got in my word, under my word. I just completely changed as a person. And I realized that God loves me, that God has a purpose and plan for my life, that God chose me, that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Yeah. So he would call me out my name. It wouldn't bother me because I allowed God's voice to be louder than his. And when I was going through transition of him not coming home on the weekends, not being there, telling me I hate you, I'll never love you, I wish I never married you. Right. I knew that life and death is in the power of the tongue through the word of God. So I would say, you will love me one day. We will have a good marriage one day. And although he would go out for weekends, I would literally help him get ready to go meet a side chick by ironing his clothes and getting him ready for the night. And these are all things I was graced to do. I would not encourage anybody to do that unless you are graced by God to do this. But once I knew who I was, I realized,
first of all, hey, Dylan.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan. Please. Hey, baby.
Go ahead.
But, girl, you already know where the fuck. The fuck?
So you can't really read this comment right here where my cursor is, but this person says, that is not God's grace, ma'am. That's low self-esteem, desperation, and denial. Why bring the Most High into your senseless shenanigans? And I was just like, girl, y'all be justifying. I mean, this is part of my problem with one of my many problems with organized religion is that you can justify anything by saying the Lord led me to whatever. So, you know, why would this being who claims to love you want you to be degraded, want you to be in a space with a man who talks nasty to you and first of all, this man is a pastor, so he's supposed to have taken these vows, you know, till death do us part, and he is clearly violating them. So why would, no, ma'am, you are just delusional. And I won't be clear why he came back to you. He got a combination probably of some shit that he can't get rid of, and or he got old and fat and don't nobody want him no more.
So I am stuck on it. Let me listen. I don't have a whole lot of experience on this planet, but in these 53, soon to be 54 years that I do have on this planet, and the excursions that I've had and experiences that I've, participated in or gone on a ride for, I wish I would stay in a relationship with someone that has made it a point to tell me that they don't fucking like me.
Right.
That we are married and I am watching you go out to some other motherfucker's house. And on top of that, I am going to prepare you and iron your clothes and get everything together for you when you go out to go hang out with this other person.
First of all, why are you this whole thing?
This
whole ironing of grown person's clothes for me is weird as shit to me.
I can't even express to you how in my 30s I had enough of somebody and I told them you need to be here before the trash goes out. And that was in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to call me on the third or the fourth day. And I was like, why are you calling me?
Because all your shit is already in the trash.
Your shit is in the Monongahela. And then you wanted to get real jazzy, because then this is how nasty that I was.
Because you are reformed now.
Mm-hmm. I am on that path.
You are on the path of salvation.
You started screaming and cussing. You started doing all this shit. I'm doing all this. There are 9 numbers that each of us have that I really could use and just ruin your life. And if I start spouting off those 9 numbers to some of my good girlfriends that are not in the city, that kind of need this information to get some work done, I would absolutely ruin your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when he figured out what I was talking about, to this day, it is 2025, this 23rd of April of 2025, the year of our Lord. If I called that man and said, this is what I need, best believe he's going to bend over backwards to give me what I need. But I don't even fuck with him. I don't even like him like that anymore. I don't even want to talk. I just sit.
I understand.
Don't think, please don't. And I get it, honestly, because I've listened to my mama. I've listened to my
Didn't
uncle.
your mother almost shoot somebody in the almost knocked out the plaster, and hadn't it been not for her sister, somebody would have died that day?
That happened once. And yes, that was with her, with my
I mean, and I'm not reading, I'm just
no. I'm saying that was the first time she shot the gun.
No judgment in that.
Yeah, that was the first time she shot the rifle. The second time she shot a hole in the wall when my stepfather was teaching her how to shoot the gun. So that's it. But she was playing dumb, because I was like, girl, you know damn well you shoot this goddamn gun.
She's like, so you do it like this? No, baby, not me. Like, what? What are you talking about?
And then you notice, not even a week afterwards, she has a cute little pearl handle pistol that she used to keep in her little bag.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So when I told you guys that I've had hundreds of men sit on my face, a lot of you commented, "Oh my God, Chris, you're just flexing that you're popular." Who said I was popular? I have low standards, which I like to reframe as inclusive. Okay, I have an inclusive body. Friends complain about this all the time, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Chris, what are you doing? You can do better than him." Excuse me. I thought it was my body, my choice. Okay, and I choose to make out with this ogre. Now, some of you are gonna comment, "Oh my God, Chris, you should have some self-respect," and I did. Okay, I did. I had self-respect in my 20s. I was skinny, I was tight, and I was ready to save myself for someone special. I realized that, wait, I'm a gay man. And as a gay man, no matter who you're waiting for, you're still gonna end up with a man. Are you really gonna wait for a man? Men are built to disappoint. I am now 37, and I have many friends who are a little bit older, and a handful of us are starting to melt. The Botox isn't holding up anymore, and Korea can only do so much. And so you realize that Judge Judy was right all along, that beauty will always fade. It doesn't matter how hot you are now. For every single one of us, before you know it, there will come a day when no one will want to touch us. No one will want to come near us, and no one will want to look at us. You better hope that when that day comes, that you have no regrets, because you are not going to be able to decide when that happens to you. Society is going to decide that for you. So when I told you guys that.
So I posted this because it reminded me, first of all, as someone in the comment said, quote, men are meant to disappoint. Who's going to make this t-shirt? Yes, but it reminded me of so many people that we know, that you and I personally know, who before the pandemic were tight and popular and slim, and during the pandemic they got fat. And, or, they let their skincare regime go. And so now here we are in 2025. You and I mean, I'm not going to speak for you, but listen, I have lost a significant amount of weight these past 5 years.
I've probably put on what you've taken off.
But we look good either way. That's the point.
But listen,
the gag is all of these girls who, want to be friendly now, but like, girl, in 2019, you couldn't say hi. I mean, and I'm not, baby, I'm never pressed. I speak because we Black and in the same space.
So I've been called this before, as a mean girl. I am standing on the fact that when I was younger and in my 20s, them old bitches that didn't speak then, the ones that I see now that want to be like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a while. Baby, do I know you? We didn't speak then, so why are we speaking now? Keep on with that shit. That's how I feel. And I'm not mad at you, because I'm like, the fuck, you don't even occupy space in my life. But I'm not mad. But I remember you. You didn't speak then. What makes you think I want to speak now? Why are we doing that?
The one person I'm thinking of, right? I had a pretty big crush on him, and I kind of made it known. This was like in the early 2010s. I would see him at the club. I would go out. We would be like, hey, hi, or I would be like, hi. And so at some point I was just like, okay, we're just cool. I'm just going to say hello. I'm just going to keep it moving or whatever. And then, and I just want to be clear, this person is about this tall, and I like him little. So he's only like 5'4". He was a cute, tight little thing, dark skin, big old, he's does have like really long eyelashes. I like that shit. And big old thick eyebrows, like big manly, he was sexy to me.
Eyebrows look like this?
Yes, but bitch, I love a good old bushy, not bushy like unibrow, but like a good, thick, solid, manly brow. I like a Joan Crawford brow.
Like a Eugene Levy brow.
Yeah, but not the Eugene Levy face. But
his brow, like from shit. I know.
Yes, I like a good, strong eyebrow and thick eyelashes and full lips and a tight little body. I want the opposite of what I think I am. You know what I mean? And so he made it clear that we was ever only going to be like the most passing of acquaintances. Like it was to the point where like he would barely even speak to me when we was at the club. And at some point I was like, fine, girl, because it wasn't like I was pressed. I was like, yes, I like you, but baby, I kept it moving. After the pandemic, when I told you he was this tall, he was also this big around. that man, like I did not recognize him at all. Like at all. I did not recognize him. And then he was like, hey. And the first, I was like, hey. And then I looked through and I was like, oh shit. And so two thoughts went through my mind. First, I was like, ooh, glad I dodged that bullet, because I would now be like, oh, because, I am a very evolved person, but in some ways I'm very superficial. And, if your whole like structure change, I don't know if I could deal with that. But also I was like, oh, so now that you don't have the body and the face anymore, now you want to be kiki talking about, hey, let's hang out. It's been so long. We had such fun together. I was like, motherfucker, we never did more than say hi and bye in the club. We never went on a date or nothing. So all of this was just, yes, all that beauty will fade.
There's a I've always been one of the dancing kids. And so, there's a couple of the dancers that come out. They pop out every now and then. And last week was another one that popped out from the other side of the room. He's like, I was like, don't come sit at the table with me. I don't want to be like, we are not friends.
Right.
Listen, I like to correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody on here that knows me and know me for longer than 20 minutes, baby, I try to speak to everybody. I do. I try to speak to everybody. My crowd of people goes from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. Baby, I've always been like that. I've had my moments where people have done shit to me that I don't particularly care for them, and I'll talk about them like shit. But for the most part, I tries to stay in an even space. Hey, how you doing? I tries to. But baby, that type of shit used to always irritate me. And I remember very early on, some guy we were in the mill, as a matter of fact. And he was like, oh, so you're that guy, and you think that y'all, I'm not even loud. Like, I'm just not a loud person. That's not saying I can't get loud, but I'm not a loud person. Like, if I walk, why you didn't have all that? No, we didn't. No.
I was just clearing my eye. That's all.
Okay. All. I'm usually pretty. But at that point, when I say the music went down and I was over top of the music and I was cussing his motherfucking monkey ass out, no, bitch, you
who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
So, I mean, but again, I don't even know who that person is anymore. If I saw them, I probably would still just might be like, and keep it moving. I'm good. I've said it before. My friend group, if I ain't make no other friends, I was like, baby, I'm good with all the friends I got. Everybody that's probably on here with, listen, if you snuck in within if I don't have a double digit behind your name and it ain't starting with a 2 or a 3 as far as the years I've earned you, like the years that I've known you, baby, you snuck in and you were supposed to sneak in.
Right.
But I'm good. Like
Y'all, we need Willie Earl, Sylvester, and Henry back down to the Home Depot and the Lowe's, because Jaquarius, Ladarius, and Quantavius don't know shit about hardware. I just asked this little fella, hey, excuse me, what aisle is the wallpaper on? And he looked me in my black ass face and said, you mean wallpaper for the walls? Oh, baby. No, I mean for the bathtub. Jesus.
Baby, I feel the same way, because these young people working at the Lowe's and the Home Depot, Lowe's and the Home Depot, girl, I'll be like, shit. So, like, bitch, I'll be like, so I'm trying to build a structure, and I'll have like a little picture and everything, and I'll be like, so I need, what kind of nails should I use? And the old man, black, white, or whatever, will be like, yeah. So just take you over there.
Go get you a nail out the box, and then make sure
you need number 12, and you need this special bit and all that. He'll walk you over to the shit, explain it to you. He'll spend 10 minutes with you, making sure you got all of the shit that you need. You ask one of these young people, and they'll be like,
nails are in the aisle 4. You can pick which one you need.
If that, some of them will be like, that's not my department. I was like, bitch, it's the fucking Home Depot. I mean, God damn it, the fuck.
Listen, that's one job you ain't never got to worry about me working in. Because baby, I'm a part-time gig or something like that. Baby, at Home Depot. What am I gonna do at Home Depot? Baby, I don't know. Now I can fake it for the sake of a job, but baby, I'm generally not interested in doing a whole bunch of.
Well, best friend, and the roommate was like, "Hey, we need to put up these shelves. So if we take you out to lunch, can you come over?" And I was like, "Yeah, bitch, I bought my tool belt and all kinds of shit, and I put up their stuff, and the shit still standing. I had my level and everything." But like this woman says, my husband went to Lowe's and asked for a water saw to cut tile. The kid looked at him in shock and said, "There's a saw that cuts water?" I'm like, "Get out my face, little boy. Please get out my face."
Like Nancy Wilson said, "Go away, little boy. Go away, little boy."
Exactly.
Oh my God. Why is the background still
right around the time I came out, right?
Delta was showing me what big girls supposed to look like.
I love it.
She put her stuff where it's supposed to
see
go.
this?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then there was Stacy. Girl, Stacy over here crying because she fat. Nobody told her she was fat before she got there. Girl, I don't know what.
You said you just found out?
You just found out? Girl? You didn't know? What is you crying for? Own this shit. Don't let this be a hindrance. Like she was just very down on, like she was, and that drove me nuts. So I went to my room, and I'm like, I'm gonna find these people. I looked up the email address. I found a worldofwonder.net.
Yeah.
So I just wrote some random at that email to who it may concern. I am tired of these fat girls getting on your show crying about being fat. I'm not in charge. I did. I was talking shit. I'm not in charge. Chuck you up, fucking. I can show you better than I can tell you. Here's my pictures, my phone number. Give a bitch a call. I didn't know they were casting, girl.
You just wrote hate mail?
I just wrote hate mail. Because I was mad. Talking shit. I was mad. And they called me 2 days later talking about, "We loved your email."
That's so funny. Oh, they said, "Get that girl in my office."
I was like,
you forgetting you sent it?
Completely.
You sent it in a rage.
In a rage.
Like, I am pissed the fuck off.
So bad, girl. I'm still kind of mad at her. If you can't tell.
You said I'm reliving the feelings.
Still like mad at her a little bit. Delta was showing me what big girls supposed to look like.
I love it.
She put her stuff where it's supposed to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then there was Stacy.
The way he said, and then there was Stacy.
Baby, listen, I don't care about who else is on the show, but baby, the people that have been on the show already have made their marks, and Latrice has definitely made a mark on the motherfucking Drag Race franchise.
Definitely. Speaking of which, I did not watch it this season at all, but what do you think about who won?
So, listen, let me be clear. I told you I was secretly watching Drag Race, probably because I was bored and was nothing else on TV. Like, we ain't had no good American Horror Story. We ain't had nothing good on TV. So, listen. So I'm watching Drag Race, and spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Drag Race the regular season and don't know who won, I'm getting ready to tell you who won. So spoiler alert, if you don't want to watch or you don't want to know.
3, 2, 1.
On Your Nerve was the winner of this season's Drag Race. And while at the beginning of the show, I had some concerns about her because of the way things have happened on the show, maybe how they were filmed, I'm not sure, but I had some concerns about her. I thought it was just kind of funky. But as time went on, there were several of the girls that were making statements. And the top 4 wound up being Sam Starr, Jewel Sparkles, On Your Nerve, and the 4th was Lexi Love. All of them were outstanding as far as the show was concerned. They had their highs and their lows, but they were outstanding as far as a total package. On Your Nerve, baby, listen, let me tell you what I got tickled about with On Your Nerve on the final show. Because did you watch the final show, man? Okay, so the show has gone through different iterations and everything else, and they have the winner, the when they announce the winner, it's usually at the what's the Paramount Theater somewhere or whatever theater it is in Los
It
Angeles.
looked like they just did it on the set of the show.
And that's what one of the differences is. I think they scaled back and just did it on the set of the show. So the energy was a little different to me as well. But at some point, she had brought each of the girls out and was standing on stage talking to them. So one of the things she said about On Your Nerve, because she's from Cleveland. I think she's from Ohio. It might be Cleveland or Youngstown, but I think it's Cleveland. But anyway, she said, now On Your Nerve. She said, girl, she said, I want to say to you that I thought it was absolutely hilarious how you would get your ass on this runway all the time and you would take your good old sweet ass time on my runway. So when On Your Nerve turned around and she said, girl, she started walking. She said, you got to give him a little something. You got to walk up to him. You got to give him a little something. You got to stand there like this. The way it happened and the shit that she was talking about, she was like, get a look at it. Look at all of it. When I tell you it tickled my soul, and I'm going to tell you why it tickled my soul. It tickled my soul because you've heard me talk about our brother and how his drag career and stuff that he's done. Because he probably show up, and I talked about this. Spill It Boy at one point used to say shit like this at the pageants when they would ask him questions on stage. And I would absolutely fucking lose it. One of the most memorable moments that he would say, or he said, they asked him about, well, why are you doing drag or something like that? He was like, well, what made you want to do drag? And it's a question and answer, so it's not a rehearsed thing. And he was just like, well, shit, I was too cute to be a boy, so I might as well try it as a girl. Baby, I thought that was the cockiest, but it was the funniest. And I was like, but again, this is what the fuck it was. So it reminded me so much of him. And that's probably why I was laughing so hard. And we talked about this. And I mean cocky just in a great way, but
yeah,
let me be clear. He will stand in this shit. He's a good performer. So I'm gonna say all that. But anyway, but that's what it reminded me of when I watched it. So the show, even though they didn't necessarily get all the stuff that they did the last time with all the performances or whatever and all these other people, it was cute and I enjoyed it. But that part for me with Anya when he was having a conversation with her tickled my heart because it was so fucking funny. So I will say, if for nothing else, this season was pretty good. It didn't have a whole bunch of drama, etc., but it did have some. But yeah, I would say definitely take a look at it because it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. But yes, I think Anya is a great winner. But I will say this: the last two lip syncs in the finale and in the one before, because Anya had the lip sync on both of them, I don't think she won the lip sync. I'm gonna go on record and say that I don't think she won the lip sync. The difference is Anya stood there flat-footed and just belted out the words, and her lip sync was on point. But all the other girls were doing stuff like spins and flips and tricks and all sorts of stuff. And so, in comparison to who he was going up against, or who she was going up against in the finale, they had three different costume changes with 4 outfits on stage performing one number. So, but the lip sync and the fact that all during the season, Anya was whooping ass and taking names later, that's where we are. But I enjoyed it. I think Anya is going to be a great representation. She reminds me a lot of Simone, and she also I feel like Simone and Candy Muse and Anya is going to have some bald-headed hoe shit in the summer, and I would love to be a fly on the wall and hang out with all 3 of them bitches all at the same time.
Excellent.
All of them.
Well, so this weekend we participated in.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Before we get there, I want to put this last thing out there. In the same vein of Drag Race, season 10 of Drag Race All Stars, the cast has been announced today. It was announced at 12 o'clock. They did this whole thing where you get to meet the queens. But the All Stars thing is changing the way it is. And I'll tell you who the 18 queens are in just a second, but it's changing a little bit. Now, each of the All Stars cast members, they're going to enter the competition in 3 groups, and they're going to be 3 groups of 6. And then with each group only competing within their own group or bracket, if you will, across 3 episodes. And then at the end of the 3-episode installment, the top 3 queens with the highest number of points across the challenges will advance to the final round. After that, the top queens will compete in a 2-episode round of further competition before a final lip sync to determine the winner of the $200,000 prize. So they broke them up into different bracket groups, and so they did it by color. The pink group includes Carrie Colby from season 14, Nicole Paige Brooks from season 2, Georges from season 14 and also All Stars 9, Tina Burner from season 13, Mistress Isabel Brooks from season 15, and Lydia Butthole Collins, who was just on season 17. So that is the pink group. The orange group includes Deja Sky from season 14, Phoenix from season 3, Olivia Lux from season 3, Irene the Alien from season 15. Her name was Irene. It was another name for her, but it was Irene was still it, but the alien she had on later on. Bosco from season 14, and Aja from season 9 and All Stars 3. She's in that orange group, that second group. And then the third group is the purple group. It features Denali from season 13, Cynthia Lee Fontaine from season 8 and season 9. You know, you want to see my cuckoo? That's her. Alyssa Hunter from season 14, Dia Betty from season 14, Acid Betty from season 8. I thought they were mother and daughter, but they're sisters. And Ginger Minge from season 7, All Stars 2, and All Stars 6. This is going to premiere on May 9th. It's going to be on Paramount Plus. So we're going to see how this is going to roll out. So I just want to give that to you all so you have that as far as what's going to go on with Drag Race.
Okay.
You sound so excited.
I mean, some of these names sound vague for me. I mean, some of them obviously, yes, I remember Ginger Minge, and so to me, Ginger Minge is an early favorite, and Tina Burner. And Aja, but only because, you know, that jump into the dip from the box. I mean, but other than that, yeah.
Well, you know, her other thing was, oh, you're gorgeous. You look like Linda Evangelista. You're a model. That was Aja saying that about Valentina.
Right. So, I mean, all right. So, you know, at some point, you know, this, for me, the whole formula and everything is getting stale.
Listen, I'm going to watch it because it ain't like we got a whole bunch of other stuff on TV to watch. And if I paid for Paramount Plus, which I think I did, I'm going to go ahead and get my money out of it. But we're going to see.
Well, that's good. So May 9th. So, all right. Well, you know, maybe I'll watch it in the beginning and see if it catches my interest. I would not hold my breath. So this weekend, Epic and I both went to see Sinners.
Yes.
Which, you know, I went in with, you know, I figured it was going to be a decent movie. I didn't think it was going to be a bad movie because, you know, when has Ryan Coogler ever made a bad movie? So,
and I went into it because I wanted to see, when I realized that it was an element of vampire, that's what caught my attention. Because again, I've said it before, if there's a vampire werewolf movie for me, listen, I want to check it out. And thanks, Dylan, for that. But yes, peace out if you don't want these, because this could be a spoiler. We can talk about Sinners. We can tell you pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah, so this is a very heavy spoilers. First thing I will say is that I knew it was going to be about vampires, but I was expecting a lot more. It wasn't, I mean, listen, the movie was great. I'm not saying this is anything wrong with it at all. This is not a criticism or a critique. It was just that I was thinking the movie the first half of the movie was really a 1930s period drama set in Mississippi. So, you know, there was that. And then slowly you start to get these elements. But let's just start.
So let's tell them what it was even about, because some people may not know what it's about. So it tells the story of Elijah Smoke and Elijah Smoke and Elijah Stack. These are twin brothers played by Michael B. Jordan, and they left Mississippi and fought in World War I. They made a name for themselves in Chicago working with Al Capone, but they returned home to open a juke joint because, as they said in the movie, Chicago is like Mississippi, just with taller buildings. And on the night that they opened the joint, that's when chaos happened because these people showed up and all this other stuff. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give them that piece.
So, all right. So in the beginning, you know, we see the Smokestack brothers, and they And we see another character, a preacher boy, whose father is the pastor of a local church and does not like his involvement with music and the blues, and that's sinful music and blah blah blah, and he even goes so far as to try to hide his guitar and everything. And the movie actually opens at the end of the movie, so it does that where you see the ending of the movie, and then we see everything that happened. So the whole movie takes place in the span of 36 hours. So we see the end of the 36 hours. We see preacher boy come back. He's got scars on his face. He's holding the handle of his guitar, and he comes back into his father's church. It's Sunday at this point. And the father is like, it was a little bit, maybe God is trying to tell you something, so like the doors of the church swing open, and he goes up to his father who's in the pulpit, and, then we cut back to everything that happened. So Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan, are trying to open a juke joint. So they are buying this old cotton mill, which I don't know if you caught this, but there was blood on the floor.
Yes.
So the cotton mill was where
it was a sawmill. Sawmill, I think it was.
Right. But they was killing people in that spot. And so all of the black people, remember, a lot of black people moved from slavery into sharecropping. So they all still work in the exact same place where their ancestors had been enslaved. Now they were quote unquote free, but they didn't really have any money because they were getting paid. This is where the phrase "don't take any wooden nickels" comes from, because they were being paid in a little bit of real money, but they were often being paid in these plantation bucks, which only had value inside of that little plantation and the town and whatever. So anyway, one of the brothers, which one is, I couldn't remember which one is Smoke and which one is Stack.
I got confused with that, and I was trying to remember because I knew they were trying to do this delineation between the hats and the coloring, but at one point I just got confused. But that's just me.
And so one of the first things we see is that these Native Americans, these Choctaw Indians, we're giving out all the spoilers, Lola. This is a full spoiler.
Yeah, we talking about this. Sorry, because it was very good, Lola. I'm sorry if you don't want to hear them, baby. You might want to tune out and just come back.
You might want to tune out.
Yeah.
So the Indian, so the first thing we see is a smoking person falling from the sky, which we immediately assume is a vampire, but even though he hasn't explicitly said it, right? So he goes to this house that's, like out in the country, and this white woman opens the door. And, he's like, they've been chasing me, blah, blah, blah. And she lets him in. Then these Choctaws show up, some in a truck and some in on horseback. And they are clearly chasing this person. So
it's also about to get dark.
It's also about to get dark, but we haven't got to that part yet.
Well, because that's when they. But okay, but
So they knock on this person's door, and this woman answers, and behind her you can immediately see the KKK hoods. And he was like, "Hey, there's a really bad man who may have come this way. Did you see him?" And as he's asking these questions, he's looking behind, and she's like, "No, we ain't seen nothing like that."
With the shotgun, mind you.
With the shotgun. Right. She opened the door with the shotgun. And the Choctaw, she was like, "Hey, I'm trying to help you out." But he saw the hood, and like all these people was like, "Dude, it's getting dark. It is time for us to dip." And so they was like, good luck with that. Peace. So that was interesting to me, because I'm like, so were they using like traditional Native American? Because that dude was clearly on the run from them. So, so the backstory of this is that Ryan Coogler got like an exceptional deal for this. He had he got like final creative control over it. Like the studio could not give him notes or anything. He also got I don't know what the exact words are, but he got paid up front.
He got a deal. Yeah.
A lot of times you don't get your money until after the studio has recouped its investment. But no, he is getting his money up front.
He gets a portion of the profits from the moment it opens in the theater, but rather than having to wait for the studio to make its money back first.
Right.
But the other part of that is
it costs about $90 million to make, and this weekend alone it made 60. So it's on track to.
Right, but this week, but specifically what he did get, he built into the deal full ownership rights after 25 years,
right?
Which is pretty unheard of in Hollywood. But and again, like you said, maintain the creative control. But go ahead, sorry.
Right, and so part of that deal is also ownership of the intellectual property. So that means if there's any prequels or sequels, then we can do that. And I am very interested in a prequel that talks about how there were perhaps Native American vampire hunt. I mean, we made a whole fucking movie about Abraham Lincoln vampire hunter. So
don't do that. Don't do that, because that's one of my I love that movie. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So if we can do that, then we can do one about Choctaw, vampire hunters. So anyway, all right. So one of the twins, it's either Smoke or Stack. They split up. So one, we'll just say that one was Smoke. All right. So Smoke goes into town with Preacher Boy, who was their cousin.
Yes.
And they go into town to recruit musicians and everything for this new juke joint that they're going to open. And they run into this woman who is in the 30s, a white woman. And it's interesting because the woman's name is Haley Steinfeld, is her real name. And she is like 1/8 black, like one of her great grandparents is black. And the interesting part about her, just like as a person, if you just look at her, you could, if you squint, be like, yeah, she could be white. Mm-hmm. But then when you look at her next to her white husband, she's like, oh, that is a light-skinned Negro.
Right.
So anyway, but in the 30s, she is this white woman for all intents and purposes who was raised on the black side of town, and but who has gone away and married a white man, but came back to bury her black mama, and runs into Smoke, who put the dick down on her.
Baby, when I say, listen, the way she talked about that man, like all the feeling, I said, oh girl,
And so the thing about that is that Smoke and Stack's father was extremely abusive, and Smoke, who was the more protective of the two brothers.
Yes, he looked out for.
He killed the father was beating the shit out of Stack, and Smoke killed their father, and they went to live. The white black woman's name is Mary in the movie. So they went to live with Mary and her mother.
Right.
And so they was kind of raised like brother and sister, but they're not technically related. So they ended up fucking before the brothers went off to World War I in Chicago or whatever. So they got married. They then got Delroy Lindo's character, whose name I cannot remember, who is like this old blues musician. And, all of this pain, he talks about how, he was and is this great blues singer. And he's like, well, how did you end up here? It was because, they made up these charges about him doing something, to almost get lynched. But then they found out he could sing real good. So they take him on the road, and they was actually paying him, and they was about to take that money and dip. But then some white people, you know how white people were in that time, and to some extent still are, Black joy makes them violently angry. So they run across this man who was happy because he's about to take his wad of cash and go dip out to Arkansas to this black town and go live his fucking life. So they claim that he stole this money. So he got like this wad of cash because you can put it in Bank of America, and they claim that he stole this wad of cash and they lynched him. And so that's how Delroy Lindo's character ended up, on the corner, playing the harmonica and shit. So anyway, so he got that. They got this other character named Cornbread. So now they all off on the thing. Meanwhile, Stack goes off to see the mother of his child. I don't think they were ever married, but what was her name?
Her name in the movie, I can't remember, but the actress's name is she's the same
one
girl from, she's the same girl from Lovecraft Country.
Yes, her One Moo, and I can't remember One Moo's last name.
Give me a second. It'll come to me. I'm gonna pull it up.
Right, but that character is like the local medicine woman, hoodoo, whatever you want to call it.
Her name was Annie, and her character's name was Annie.
Annie. So
her
Annie
name is Wumi Masaku.
Yeah, and first of all, I just want to say how fucking gorgeous she is.
Baby, let's be clear. Let's be absolutely clear. When I say melanated, when I say popping, baby, Miss Wumi Masaku, baby, all
stunning. And whoever is styling her braids or whatever look that she's had for all her premieres is everything. And all right, so they are there. And she is the local medicine woman, hoodoo, whatever you want to call it. So she gave Stack this charm that he has worn around his neck while he was gone or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I survived all this stuff. And she was like, what makes you think that you ain't survived? Because I had protected you, all this time. So she goes and fixed that. And they had a child together, which died in infancy. And Annie has been keeping that because there's a little grave right out in front of Annie's house with a fresh bottle of milk. So, because that milk was fresh, that was not some shit that had been sitting there for a while. So she is tending that. And they'd been gone for at least 7 years. So that baby would have been like 7, 8, 9 by this point. So she's been maintaining that grave and keeping vigil and whatnot. And so they make love. Because for me,
no. They didn't make no.
They made love. It was beautiful and tender.
What? Okay, all right. Well, all right, y'all. Listen, y'all.
I thought it was beautiful.
That is subjective, whether we call it beautiful and tender. But again, I was here for it. Let's be clear.
And then so now and also Annie is one hell of a cook, and so also.
The store owner.
Right. And so Stack also goes into town before he goes to see Annie and hooks up with the local Asian grocery store owner because, and I got the link. There is, Ryan Coogler, he doesn't just do random shit, right? So there is a whole community. I'm trying to get the name of it. What is the name of this shit? There is a documentary about America's Southern, it's called Chinese Food and All-American Cuisine, because there was an entire community of Chinese Americans who lived in Mississippi in that time, and they served both black customers and white customers because you know how racism work. They couldn't let the black people have their own stores, and the white people didn't want to serve them, so the Chinese people were the intermediary. So all right, so now we got the whole team. So they back at the spot. They done got this juke joint juking, And, you know, the voiceover narration says that, you know, the thing about the blues and the music of our ancestors is that it can connect the past, the present, and the future, but it could also draw evil.
Yep.
So in the beginning, so oh boy, so and you know that was that dude, the boy who played Preacher Man or Preacher Boy. That was his first movie role ever.
Okay.
And so he starts singing and playing the blues, and everybody is loving it. And we get this whole tapestry of traditional African dancers and folklore, all the way through slavery, all the way through the blues in the present time, all the way through the 50s, and then all the way leading to like Africa Bambaataa and George Clinton and hip hop and twerking. And it was all just this beautiful tapestry. And because the Chinese people were there, it was like multicultural. It was like all of these things, we're all a connected people. So there were Chinese dancers and influences and things like that. And so it was all this beautiful sort of connected thing. But the narrator also told you it attracted evil. So that vampire, let's circle back to the vampires. The vampire that was a vampire that fell from the sky.
Well, did he fall from the sky? We just saw him running because he was on fire. He
Fell from the scene made it look like he was falling, and the fact that later on he showed that he could fly, was like he's falling. And like, you know, what is the devil but a fallen angel? So that's where I was taking it. And I was taking it that the Choctaw had that man on the run all through the day. That's why he was sizzling, because he was trying to stay out of the sun.
Yep.
And, you know, so he turned the husband and wife, the KKK people that was there, and they show up at the mill and take it away.
So when they get to the mill, they had this moment inside the mill, like Dominion was saying, when they were playing the music. And so the music actually attracted them to this particular place. And so they came to the door, and Cornbread was at the door because he was serving as the security, if you will, and the bouncer to keep the people in and keep people out. And just if there's any riffraff that want to come along, you know, deal with that. So they came up, and when they came to the door, they were saying, hey, you know, we were attracted here. We have plenty of money. We heard the music, and we can sing, and we can do all these things. And they all looked crazy.
It was all looking like,
they were like, hi, we were attracted to the music, and we just wanted to come in. We can play music.
Oh, I forgot one thing. Before we got there, right?
You gonna talk about Sammy?
There was also a scene. So Preacher Boy is a virgin. And when they were in town meeting up with Mary and Delroy Lindo's character and whatnot, Preacher Boy sees this beautiful woman, and, you know, he goes and, you know, shoots his best shot. And before, his cousin Stack was like, if you ever meet a woman, what you got to do, you're going to find the hole, but just above the hole, they're going to be this little button, and you're going to lick that button like ice cream. Now, how you eat ice cream, you don't just bite it, you lick it softly. You know, you want it to last. And so that's what he could do. So he sees this woman, but the woman's like, I'm married.
Right. She was very much like, I'm married. And I like, boy.
And then he was, but she left it with a glimmer of hope, because he was like, okay, but you're going to come out.
Are you coming tonight?
And she was like, maybe. So then later, so kind of find out this woman actually is a blues singer, and she came there ready to cheat on her husband.
So we get there, and Preacher Boy decides that he wants to shoot his shot again because she came. And so when she got there, he was like, they started having conversation. Basically, they end up in this room, and he said, look, he said, I want to lay you down. She's like, wait a minute, I'm not all fresh.
She's like, I've been walking all day.
I've been
walked
walking all day. He said, baby, I just want
in the Mississippi sun.
Yeah, he said, baby, I just want to taste you. It's all right. I just want to taste you.
And
baby,
the number of audible gasps in the audience was like,
baby, when she laid that head down, so she was like, listen, he had earmuffs that were thighs. So anyway, all right. So they're in this other room and they're doing that. Okay. So while they're in this room, Mary and Smoke are having an argument about their relationship and how it went. Like what went down with them and what didn't go well, and the fact that she felt he didn't come back to see their mama and all sorts of stuff. But it was also a thing where you got this feeling that he liked her, and he was trying to protect her, but he didn't want to be with her in public, at least, because he kind of felt like I think it was because of the whole thing. She looked white. I think that's what it was.
But I think maybe because that was for both of their protection,
right?
Because if white people had seen
them two together.
So two things. One, if white people had seen him kissing up on her, they would have been like, this nigga is kissing on a white woman.
Right.
But then if they had seen her and found out she got black ancestry, then she's just a light-skinned Negro, and they probably would have raped her and then killed her too. So him staying away from her was really for both of their protection.
Yeah, and then someone mentioned it, I don't know, Facebook group or somewhere, like, oh, they kind of grew up as siblings or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, maybe, possibly, I don't know, but maybe that was something that as well that he was trying to like not have people think that they, were doing incest or whatever, but whatever, we already knew that they weren't related, so
right.
But anyway, so during this conversation or during this time,
you mentioned the fact that Mary was like, yeah, and you taught me to fight. I beat every bitch ass in here.
Right. Because which she did say. But so the issue was when all three of them came to the door.
The vampires.
All three of the vampires came to the door. No. I take that back. I'm missing something. Because she wound up in this argument that they were having. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they came to the door and then
she was like, I can use my whiteness in order to
because they said that they had money, and also she said, and that's what she says, I can use
my
whiteness.
So she was trying to like, okay, well, maybe we can get these people money so we can make enough money.
Because what Dominion was talking about earlier with the wood nickels and everything else, they didn't make a whole lot of money because they were just counting up the actual cash versus the wood nickels.
Right. Some people were paying for real food
in plantation money or whatever,
which didn't have any value outside of that plantation. Right. So let's say they made, so let's say they made $1,000.
Yeah, he said that in the movie that it was $1,000 in total money, but of that $1,000, 457 was in actual cash dollars and 600 something was in the other plantation money or whatever it was. So it's like they didn't really make a whole lot of money. So part of the premise of them having this conversation when Mary said, well, I can go outside and see what they're up to because they said they got money. I can see what they're going to do because if they got money and, they want to come in and they said that they can sing, then, we can have a conversation with them and, figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So he gives her his gun. She then decides to go outside and she was, playing her best white self. She walked on over. She was like, oh my God, hey, how y'all doing? Where y'all from? They just talking and everything. Now the vampires are looking at her and they're like, bitch, why is she walking over here? Bitch, this is dinner's walking over to me. Like, baby, this is what's going on. So she's sitting there talking to him or whatever. She says a few things to him. And I can't remember how it came out, but at some particular point, she felt uncomfortable and she decided, she was like, I gotta go. So she got up, she was walking away, and she wound up pulling out the gun. And she was trying to run back. Well, before she
leaps into the air.
Yeah, before she made it back, old boy leaped in the air and jumped up on her.
And so this is, symbolism. So your whiteness or your proximity to whiteness will not save you.
So when they jumped on her, then you flash back to the inside and you see Cornbread standing at the door, but everybody else is on the inside. So Mary walks up, and so now she's a vampire because a considerable amount of time is not considerable, but some time has passed. So she's been bitten, and so she's now a vampire. So she's walking to the door, and she's like, "Hey, Cornbread, you just gonna let me in? You gonna invite me in?" He was like, "What the hell? I ain't. You been in? Like, what you mean? I gotta invite you and come on in." So then she goes inside. When she gets inside, then she is in the same room that Preacher Boy and the other young lady were in, and they were getting ready to have a little moment because she was going after him because they had this little love thing going on. That's how they wound up getting.
You mean Smoke?
I'm sorry, Smoke. Excuse me. Well, Preacher Boy and the other woman had that thing going on. That's what I was talking about. In that
right,
same
but it's in the same room.
In the same room,
but they're not there anymore.
No, they're not there anymore. They'd already came out
in the room with Smoke. Yes.
Yeah. So Mary's in the room with Smoke, and then they start having this conversation, and Mary just can't. She just couldn't. She didn't want to play with her food no more. So she just went on ahead. She just jumped on him, and she was plucking him.
But before that, at some point, Cornbread is like, "Hey, I got to go pee."
Well, wait a minute, because I didn't get back to that yet. To that. So she jumps on him, and then again, there's a lot of screen flashing back and forth. So at this point, Delroy Lindo's character is getting ready to go outside or walking over towards the door, and Cornbread is saying, "Hey, I got to go outside. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to go find someplace to go." It's like, all right, well, whatever. So stand here at the door and watch the door. So Delroy's standing there at the door, whatever. All right, cool. Cornbread goes outside, and when Cornbread goes outside, of course, he's out in the field somewhere. He's trying to, go to the bathroom. So they're playing with him. They hear names calling, whatever. Eventually, they jumped on him too. They got him. So let's just go in for that. So a little bit of time passed. They showed some more stuff going on the inside of the building. And when they showed the inside of the building, I'm trying to think, did the Mary scene happen before this or not? But when they showed the inside of the building, she had jumped on Smoke and she was biting Smoke. And then for whatever reason, they wound up busting in the door. I can't remember what it was, whether it was Preacher Boy or something was going on, but they wound up breaking inside the room and they found Mary there with him trying to eat or feed off of him. Mm-hmm. So they're like, what the fuck is going on? They were like, what? They wound up shooting her or whatever. They flash back to the door. I'm sorry, they wound up shooting her. She gets up, and then when she gets up, she runs out the door. She runs out the door. So when she runs out the door, then Cornbread is trying to come back to the door. But at this point, everybody that was in that room, Annie, Smoke, well, not Smoke anymore, but Stack and Preacher Boy and
the
singer, and everybody kind of saw what was going on. So when they saw that she ran out and they saw Cornbread coming back in the door, he was saying the same thing, like, all right, well, I just had to go to the bathroom. They were like, why are you out there so long?
Well, he said the same thing that Mary was like, hey, let me in. They were like, the fuck you mean let you in? You're going in and out the whole fucking time. So that's another symbolism, Evil can only enter when you let it in.
Yes.
So if you don't let it in.
Right. Thank you, Eccentric. Preacher Boy was told to get Smoke. He saw Mary on top of him and went to tell Stack that he's busy, but Stack didn't take that for an answer. So yeah, that's how he wound up.
And so that's when he went back, and then that's when they saw Mary. And then so now Cornbread tried to rush the door and they shot him in the head, but then that motherfucker laid on the ground, but then he got back up. Yes. Meanwhile, Grace was the Asian woman, and I forget her husband's name. Her husband was like, I need to go into town because shit is going south. And so he goes to get the car. And
that's before. Hold on. That's before. So everybody had left because they realized what had happened to Smoke.
And so they thought Smoke was just dead.
Right. And then they were saying, Delroy Lindo said, everybody got to go home because they were trying to keep it all secret. They didn't want to know what had happened to him. So that's when they were closing out a juke joint and sending everybody outside. So meanwhile, outside is all the vampires. So when everybody went outside, that's when the Asian woman said to her husband, we got to, go get the car. We get ready to get up out of here. Something that went on. We don't know what it is. Go get the car and we get up out of here. So he went outside to go get the car. Now, meanwhile, all these people that are left, you don't even see them no more. Their cars are still out there. You don't see them. They already got.
Meanwhile, and Annie was like, all right, so bitch, this is either a hate or a vampire.
because she was the local spiritual woman or
yeah. So
voodoo
she was
priestess
like,
or whatever. Yeah.
she figured it out because she had an inkling of what it was. So they had a jar of pickled garlic there to make drinks.
Yes.
So she threw the garlic water on him, and I think it might have been cornbread. Started sizzling. So she was like, "All right, this is a vampire." So they all ate a clove of garlic to see if any of the rest of them had been infected.
Yeah, and everybody was eating the garlic except for the young jazz singer. She was like, "What the fuck?" They were like, "You're not gonna eat this motherfucker garlic." And she was like,
"There's a bitch. You got 5 seconds to eat this garlic, or it's a wrap for you right here and right now."
Baby, they was gonna light her ass up, but she ate the garlic, and so all right, cool. So now at this point, we have all the people that left that are vampires. We have the original vampires outside, and then we have just a few people left inside. That consists of Preacher, Stack, Delroy Lindo's character, the Asian woman, the woman of Preacher Boy's that his first experience, and Preacher Boy. So it was 6 of them, I think that is. Yeah, I think it's 6. Am I missing somebody?
And Smoke dead in the room in the back.
Yes. And that he's dead in the room. Yes. So Smoke wakes up and
bangs on the door.
Yeah, he's trying to get out the door because they locked him in this room. Again, this was the part that Annie was figuring out, trying to figure out what was going on. He busts out the door. The door falls onto Preacher Boy because he's trying to hold it back. And then somehow he wound up either getting shot or he wound up running out the door after whatever happened because they were trying to shoot him and get to him. And I think they did shoot him a couple times. I can't remember. But he wound up running out the door. So now he's outside. So Smoke's outside. So you got all these people out there. So now all the people that are outside are trying to antagonize everybody on the inside. And they're saying, basically, we're going to come in and we're going to get you. Like, we're just going to let it happen because we're going to get you. Like, that's what's going to wind up happening.
It's going to happen.
Whether it's now or in 15 minutes, but it's going to happen. So then the Asian woman, she was just like, I got to go get my husband. He's outside. They were like, baby, your husband is gone. Your husband is gone.
Well, maybe. And yes. And then at some point, the husband, the husband still hadn't reappeared.
Not yet.
But
yeah.
The vampire knew all his thoughts. So he started speaking Mandarin to the Asian woman.
Yes.
And started talking about the sex that she has with her husband.
Yes.
And how they was going to go and get their daughter. I think the daughter's name was Grace or some shit. And, so then she was like, I got to go.
Yes. So you continue on because I'm go on because I'm missing.
No, you good.
Okay. So at that point, the Asian woman had got mad and everybody was like, what the fuck is going to go on? This bitch decides that she's going to try to go up outside and just fuck shit up. They're trying to stop her to go outside, but however, she winds up lighting a bottle of liquor or a bottle of whiskey with the
she makes like a Molotov cocktail.
Like a Molotov cocktail. And I feel like I'm missing something else before them because I think it was.
Well, no, so they all like, all right, bitch, we're going to have to fight our way out here because we cannot stay in here all night because they understand. So, like all of those other people who was in the club, now this club was packed.
Oh, yeah. There was well over like 200 people.
Right. So now all these people have been turned to vampires and they've all like surrounded this spot. But they, for whatever reason, they still have to be let in.
They have to be let in, yeah.
So
that's the only thing that was
Grace is like, come on, and so it's like an anger. It's just another like she has a death wish. But so then they've all got like sharpened stakes and everything. And Annie says to Stack, he was like, listen, there's a good chance that this is gonna go south.
She did.
If I get turned, you got to kill me. And she was like, because baby, I'm not even worried because I got our baby is waiting for us.
Yep.
On the other side. So baby, don't feel bad but I need you to promise me
that you're gonna take me out.
Because what they're saying is that the thing about the vampires is that the soul is trapped. The soul cannot move on to the next life. So you don't, they promise you eternal life, but you're not really alive. You're trapped between this life and the next. And so they are still both grieving the loss of this child. 7, 8 days. She's literally keeping milk on a grave every day. So if she's turned into a vampire, then she would never, ever
get to see her baby
get to see that baby again. So she needs to know that if she makes Stack promise that if some shit goes south, you got me.
That's what we get ready to do. And Delroy Lindo's character, I can't remember what his name was, but he was also either in the service or he was just a fighting ass, because he was just like, fuck it, like we ready to fight. This motherfucker.
They all got like wooden stakes and guns, and Grace throws this cocktail and immediately sets her own self on fire.
Baby, it was a lot. It was a lot. So then the fighting commences, and they wound up coming in the door, and they were fighting, going back and forth, like it was just pure chaos. Annie gets bitten.
Mm-hmm.
The Asian woman gets killed. The Smoke's girlfriend gets killed. And then there's a showdown between Smoke and
Stack. Not Smoke. Preacher Boy.
Preacher Boy's girlfriend gets killed, and there's a showdown between Smoke and Stack. And
and Stack does kill Annie. He puts the stake into her heart and releases her.
But this fight between Smoke and Stack was they were sharing while they were fighting. They were having this conversation. It was like, bitch, just having conversation.
Because here's the thing, they are close, and so Smoke,
brothers,
even though he has become a vampire, he was like, I can't do this without you.
Right.
I didn't want to live this life without you, and I certainly don't want to live through eternity without you. So now I need you to do this.
Yeah. So they have this struggle, and Smoke was the vampire, and Stack was not a vampire.
Not a vampire, right.
And Stack was on top of Smoke saying, yes, I've always protected you. But the way the scene ended was he was on top of him about to kill him. And you knew that that's what was going to happen. That's what you knew was going to happen. Mm-hmm. Then they fast forward to this other scene where Preacher Boy is outside.
But before that, though, you got to remember that at some point, Smoke got away, and him and Mary ran off. They basically was like, fuck all of this. They literally said, like, fuck all of this bullshit. We got to go.
That comes
they ran off into the woods.
Yeah, that comes because I was gonna say when they got outside, the main vampire, we're gonna call him White Man. I can't think of his name right now. Yeah. The main vampire was pissed off because of what has happened and the fact that he got hurt. And Preacher Boy was a part of that, but it was also everybody else in it that was fighting as well.
Mm-hmm. So one thing we're remembering is that they were attracted and they wanted Preacher Boy because so everyone is harboring a deep hurt. So this vampire is several hundred years old, and he's from Ireland, and so he's been alive all this time, and he like Annie said, he's been disconnected. He can't move on to the next life. So Preacher Boy, through Preacher Boy's music, and remember when he turns somebody, he has access to all of their memories and all of their skills and whatnot. So he wanted Preacher Boy's music so that he could reconnect with his Irish ancestors. And we're not talking about 100 years ago. We're talking about 700, 800, 900 years ago.
But here's the one thing that I will tell you. The music scene that Dominion described was exactly that. It was a big melting pot cacophony. Just a whole big, just amazing. But here's the thing about the music. The fucking music was amazing. I feel that it if any of you know Michael Jackson's song, "Want to Be Starting Something," when they get to the middle and that whole "Mama say, Mama say, Mama Ku," like that beat, that rhythm, that tribal, that's consistent. And if you do it across cultures, you can find the similarities across all the cultures. And the way that they melted this in, it was absolutely amazing. And the music was so loud, and it was the IMAX theater, like the sounds, it was amazing. Like I was feeling it, like I was ready to jump, like I was ready to move, because the music just had me kind of like it was just there, like it was very intense.
And then later the vampire did this like Irish jig that was mixed, but that was what he was trying to recreate the same magic that Preacher Boy did, but he could only go so far because he didn't have access to that magic that Preacher Boy did.
And the other part is, and I think the man you mentioned this earlier, was that there were certain people that had the gift of music in this manner that would connect the people, and Preacher Boy was definitely one of those people.
Right. And so now we are outside, because we got to wrap this up. It's 9:52.
Yeah.
So we are outside, and now Preacher Boy and Stack are fighting the lead vampire in the water. And Preacher Boy is like, baby, this is about to be a wrap for me. So he starts to say the Lord's Prayer. And then the vampire starts saying it as well, which I loved, because this movie says all of these things will protect you against vampires. Wooden stake in the heart, silver, the sunlight, all that other shit. But the one thing that won't protect you is Jesus. So that cross won't protect you. None of that works. And so as Preacher Boy started saying the Lord's Prayer, the vampire started saying it too. He was like, those words are the exact same words that were said to me all those years ago when they were stealing my father's land too. So it didn't protect you then, it didn't protect me then, and they ain't gonna protect you now.
So then in that instance, when he's about to take that final bite out of Preacher Boy, Stack shot the shit out of him from behind.
He shot the shit out of him, but also that big plate that was on the guitar was silver. So
that part.
So Preacher Boy walloped him upside the head and basically sliced his head open, which dazed him enough that the sun was coming up. And that killed him, and that killed everybody that was there at the spot, because they were all out in the daylight.
Right. And so that takes you back to the beginning. And then there's more scenes in that where like he's like, because in the beginning his father was asking him like, are you going to give this life up? Are you going to not do this and all this other stuff? So it kind of goes back to that scene and kind of goes forward from there.
Right.
But there were bonus scenes.
Well, before that was the first scene wasn't even a bonus scene, because one of the vampires said that that couple that he killed at first was the son of the white man that sold them the mill. And in the beginning, Smoke and Stack was like, "You sure this isn't connected to the Klan? Because we don't want no."
Because
and the Klan and the dude was like, "The Klan doesn't even exist around here anymore." But this was always going to be a setup,
right? And they knew that you saw either Smoke or Stack say, "It looks like there's blood on his floor," and they kind of knew what it was. All they were telling them was like, "Listen, if we buy this, don't come back." But the setup part was that these Klansmen were come back and basically shoot everybody to fuck up and tear the motherfucking place down.
So they came back the next day, and Stack was waiting on that ass
because he knew that they was gonna come back. And when he was waiting on these motherfuckers, he was fully cocked and loaded, because he had told his cousin to go. He told Preacher Boy just go, and that's how he wound up driving the car back to church, whatever. But he took his box off the back of his truck, which he was a former military person, so he had 2 or 3 shotguns and rifles and machine guns and everything else in there. And he was loaded up. Yeah, so he was waiting for them. He knew they were going to show up at some particular point. And so when they showed up, he shot the shit out of every goddamn body. Like we just.
But in the process, he ended up getting shot.
He ended up getting shot, and it was determined. I'm sorry, it was assumed that he was dead as well, because you don't see him pass away.
But
no, you do. You see him. Well, you see him. He can see Annie, which means that he was about to die. So Annie was like, if you stay in
with
this
him in the yeah.
She was nursing their child, so she was in the afterlife with their child, and she was like, "I need you to be here," because he had got shot in the side.
Yes, and it could have gone either way.
Right, so he chose. To me, it was clear that he died because he could touch Annie and the child, and if he was still alive, he wasn't going to be able to do that. Then you think the movie is over, like for real,
but
then
there's a post scene, and there's a scene where you see it's 1970, 1980-ish.
No, it was. They said it was 1992.
1990, yeah, 1992. You see this. It's at a club, a nightclub,
and the girls. So Preacher Boy. This is important. Preacher Boy's girlfriend's name, the one whose pussy
was
he ate,
Pearline.
Pearline.
Yes,
and this is important because
they're at this club in 1992, and it's this older man on stage, and you can tell he's on this guitar or whatever. And you look at the guitar, and all of a sudden, it's a recreation of the guitar that Preacher Boy had when he was younger. Mm-hmm. And so you start to realize that this person playing the guitar is actually Preacher Boy.
Because he's still got the same
older version of him, and he still has
because the scars he had on his face was like deep. So these did not heal over. So you was like, this is Preacher Boy,
right?
As an old man now.
And this is where the vampire was grabbing him, and you could see. So that's what these scars were on his face, but they had not healed invisible, but they were still there. Well, anyway, he's playing, and then you can tell it's the end of the night at the club, and he gets off the stage, and he goes.
Yeah, you see like posters. I mean, this man has platinum albums.
He's a big recording star at this particular point, but he's older now. So I think when the movie started, Preacher Boy was probably a teenager, like maybe 19,
he had just turned like 19 or something,
19, 20s, whatever. So at this point, this man was clearly, this was 70 years. This was 60 years later. 60 years
so
later.
He was in his late 70s, early 80s.
Late 70s, early 80s. And so, but he still had these scars or whatever. But you can see all his history, like in the scenes, talking about the stuff that he's done and where he's been and all sorts of stuff. And just all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So he's sitting down at the bar. And apparently, when he's on stage, you see his face or the image or the logo, and it says Pearline's, and it's his. And again, you understand that this is his club. This is what he owns now.
Right.
And you can see that he named it Pearline after the
first woman he ever had sex
with. And so he's sitting at the bar, and he's having a drink, and he sees he sees two people coming. Well, I'm sorry, he didn't see them. Two people came in and sat down next to him, a guy and a girl. And the bartender asked him, what are you drinking? And he said, I'll have exactly what the old man was drinking. And at some point, that voice sounded familiar, or the name, something sounded familiar to him. And the old man stopped and looked. And you saw it was Smoke, actually.
Right, because Smoke and Mary.
Yeah, in this Coogee sweater with these Dwayne Wayne flip-up glasses. And you see Mary looking like a fly girl.
Salt and pepper.
Right, like fly girl, salt and pepper, which she's stuck on a lollipop or whatever. And they're as a couple coming in. And so they're sitting there and they're looking at him. And Preacher Boy realizes, fuck, this is... So he's cool. Like he was like, the fuck. I mean, at this point, it's been 60.
I mean, you got me. I mean, the fuck. I'm like 85. I'm like 80-some years old. I'm not gonna run from you.
What the fuck? Yeah. Like what the fuck we gonna do? So they start having a conversation, and I can't remember what he said to him, but he
was basically like, I could.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I can't remember what the conversation was about, but in the conversation, it was a thing where Smoke had said, make sure. No, he said something about. He said,
that made him promise.
Yeah, he said, I see you're doing all right. And he said, he said, yeah, I am. He said, that's because I was made to promise that I would make sure to look after you and take care of you and make sure that you were okay, because my brother wanted me to do that. So, which said to us that when he was on top of him in that scene, and you assumed that he killed him, he didn't.
Right. And he said that was their thing. It was like, we cannot live the same life, but I can can't kill my own brother.
Right. And so that's why.
And so I'm gonna let you go, or you can let you go. It was like, just do not let anything happen to Preacher Boy.
Which is their cousin.
Because remember, Preacher Boy, you know, he was like the young little impressionable kid who wanted to be just like his idol, these twins who went out. I mean, remember, he's literally a preacher boy. His father don't want him to go nowhere, don't want him to be anything. The only music he's supposed to play is gospel. He's like, I want to go and be like my cousins who seen the world, took life by the hands. And he said that to, I guess it was Stack, and Stack was like, you do not want to be like us.
That is exactly what he said to him.
So that was why Stack made Smoke promise that he would take care of him, because he did not want Preacher Boy to live that life. So he had this, you know, angel, devil in the background, probably always making sure the shit went okay for him.
And maybe even dabbling in something to make him successful, possibly. Because he was also impressed by his singing ability and his guitar playing ability. Like because he was good. The boy could sing and blues in his 30s, and so he could sing. And so that's kind of how the movie kind of ended, where he walked away like, you know what? He made this gesture towards him, and he said something. He leaned into him and he was like sniffing. He said, well, you don't really have long, but and he was like, oh no, I'm not. He said something to the effect of like, no, I'm not going to kill you. He said, you don't really have long. He said, but you know, enjoy yourself.
Right.
And him and Mary walked out of the club in the 1990s. And so that's kind of how the movie ended.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was the only thing that I'm going to say, because I enjoyed the movie. Let me be clear. So this is where Dominion and I always kind of differ slightly. I felt like it was so beginning heavy and long, like it was just a little drawn out for me. And it didn't really give a lot of background. They tried that in the beginning, talking about the over the years of spiritual, this, that, and other. I just didn't feel like they did a good enough job to me building that part and connecting that part. But I liked how it eventually connected. It was like a hair that connected it, and then I understood everything. So it was like, all right, cool, fine. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I actually
I loved it. Am I going to go see it again? You know, I rarely see a movie in the theater.
I will watch it again when it comes on cable or something.
I will definitely do that. But am I actually going to sit in the theater again? No, and pay like I bought like 2 hot dogs and some caramel popcorn and a soda, and that was like $40. So I was like, yeah, I'm good.
No, girl, I went there with my goobers that I bought from CVS. It was buy 2 get 1.
So yeah, but if you haven't seen it, I would definitely encourage you to do that for a number of reasons. One, it's a really good movie.
Yes.
We should support Black cinema. Remember, it's Black, Gay, Kiki, Human, because you know this is how we get our stories told.
Yep.
You know, because I mean, did Stevie Wonder? Did Steven Spielberg do an amazing job with The Color Purple?
Yes, he did.
But how many times? Think of how many Black stories have been told by white directors, and it was shitty or non-existent. So if we want our stories told, then we got to go support the people that tell those stories. So
agreed. So
and when it comes out, you know, don't buy the bootleg, buy the real DVD or the real streaming or whatnot. So
definitely do that. So for the most part, excellent movie. I don't have any real complaints about it. Like I said, it's a little slow for me, but it's really good. And I think that you should take a look at it. And I think now, even though we've told you what went on, it actually might add some depth for the movie for you, because you might be able to have the time to sit and pay attention and notice stuff, because you kind of know what's going to happen. You can kind of notice other things or pay attention to other things.
Yeah, and it'll give you some context and think about, well, at least for me, I love those layers of symbolism, because you could go and turn your brain off and just be like, okay, this is a cute little, you know, vampire flick set in the 1930s Jim Crow. Okay, great. But there's also things about cultural appropriation.
Yep.
There are things about how whiteness or proximity to whiteness will not save you, because one of the things that the vampire was talking about was that if you joined him, you now had a community that could help you fight off the KKK and all of that. But no one, that really wasn't, could that possibly have happened? Maybe, but that wasn't what the vampire's original ulterior motive was. He was trying to get his own shit back. He didn't give a fuck about the KKK. He didn't care about none of that.
Yeah.
In fact, he ate the other two main vampires were members of the KKK.
Right.
And just because you turn into a vampire doesn't mean, by definition, all of the other hatreds and stuff that you had in life don't go away. So, so whiteness and proximity to it is not going to save you. It also talked about how and listen, we have friends of the show who are white, so this is not about an attack on individuals. This is an attack or a critique on systems and things. But when the white Eurocentric system got its hands on Black music and culture, it was watered down, and it was only palatable when other white people took it. But the original Black music and Black culture was still something that no one wanted a part of.
So interesting line that relates to what you're saying. The Root had an article about it, and is saying that the guitar is symbolic of the power of Black music. And we were saying that Kugler was saying that it has the power to soothe us, but it can also attract those who are unwanted.
Yes. Oh, Remick was the chief vampire. Baby, we got to wrap it up. We have been on this show for 2 hours and 7 minutes.
Yeah, we're listening.
So, all right. So I'm going to thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night.
Peace.
I love y'all. We've had a wonderful time. Bye.
Bye.